Al, have you done more emphasis on special teams this summer, or has it been the same
No,
compared to last year?
we have done really the same amount of special teams that we did last year.
Okay.
Any lengthening of practice during the preseason was really more based on individual and some team reps to get the younger players worked into the offense and defense. But the special teams reps, because a lot of times they cover so much ground, I don't know if that would be where you would add. So we really spent the same amount of time.
Kyle, could you talk about Tom Pratt and kind of his development and his growth now this season here?
Karan's been a very valuable player for the last 3 years for us, and I don't know that it always gets noticed by the public. He's somebody who plays a very significant role on special teams for us the last 2 years. Two seasons ago, he would have played the Mohamed Sanu role when Mohamed went out, and then last year he made a big catch in the Arkansas game. And I think when you're at a position group that has a lot of talented players like we have at the receiver position, the touches don't always come your way, and the other things that you do at those positions like blocking and running your routes full speed and playing on special teams, I don't know if they're always appreciated by the casual fan, but he's always been appreciated by the coaching staff.
What do you look for him for this year as a senior now?
He's had a great training camp. I don't put any expectations on him other than to play with great effort and execution. I think he will do that, and I think he's a talented enough player that as he does that, when the ball comes his way, he's going to catch it for us.
Kyle, I know you said obviously since the beginning, Keith and Taj at tackle give you your best offensive line. But any concerns about breaking in two new tackles on the road first game? And I think it's supposed to be a pretty noisy stadium. Any concerns communication-wise or anything like that with two new tackles?
I think it'll be a very hostile environment, and anytime you go into that kind of environment, you have to be ready to communicate in a number of different ways. I think our defense presents a great challenge to us up front every day, and Fresno's front people are excellent players, but we're used to playing against excellent players, so I don't think that part is going to be something that we're not used to doing. And then the experience of game day only comes with playing on game day. You'd love to bring back returning starters at every position every year, but that's just not what college football is, and there's no doubt in my mind that having Keith and Taj at tackle is going to give us our best five, and is the way to go.
How about, we've talked about Derek Carr a lot. They have a pretty good nose guard, I think. What have you seen from him on film?
They have a first-team All-League nose guard and a second-team All-League defensive end coming back this year, and they're very good up front. They're very good. They remind me a lot of our defense, not just in the style of play, which is similar, but also in the way they play. I think their players play with great effort. Our coaching staff does an excellent job, and they're going to present a tremendous challenge for us up front.
What has Kenneth Kirksey shown you the last couple of weeks at camp?
Kenny's built on what he did last year, and for Kenny and Ike, neither one was healthy all season last year. It's nice to have Kenny here for the entire training camp, and he's been able to build on it. Kenny's an explosive athlete and somebody that gets better and better playing that nose guard position.
Were you trying to give some other tight ends reps today behind Paul?
We were, and Paul took a lot of reps early in camp, and Tyler obviously wasn't out there, so this was a good opportunity to get Paul off his feet a little bit and continue to catch Tyler up as he goes.
Kyle, you've probably talked about this to your writers every day. I haven't been here, but could you talk about Nova's progress this camp?
Gary, from the moment that bowl game ended, I thought every time I got a chance to watch him do something, I thought he was doing it just a little bit better. And I think all the details of playing that position and what that position means to a football team, he has a better understanding of now than he did a year ago, which only makes sense, because some of that knowledge you can only gain by playing and going and experiencing really high highs and some other games that you're not as crazy about. And he went through all those experiences and came out of it a really determined football player to be better this year. And I think that shaped his entire offseason through the summer and training camp to a point now where his own teammates voted him captain, which I think is probably the greatest honor you can get as a player.
Did Rankin get his chances Carr today or no?
Yeah, Blake got a few snaps in there as Derek Carr. I spent a little more time watching the offense than the defense, but
How have they done? How have both of them done?
I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
I think today we were in spider pads. I don't know if the tempo was as good as it was yesterday when we had the pads on, but on Sunday we'll be back in full pads, and I think that'll ramp it up a little bit, and we'll liven the quarterbacks up down there on the scout team, and that always creates a little more urgency as well for those guys standing in the pocket.
For two more. By the end of last year, some linemen had told me that communication was a bit of an issue on the offensive line. Did you see that as much of a concern, and how they improved that?
I mean, I don't know. I would go back and speak to last year after going through the spring and going through a training camp and having different players in there. I think the communication for this group has gotten consistently better through training camp, which is what you would expect. To have 4 players in new spots is certainly not what you want to do every year, but if it gives you the best opportunity to have the best offensive line you can, then you have to do it. And we did it fairly early, and I think we've kept the spots pretty steady, except for maybe the 1 guard spot. And now, I think as we get close to game time, we're where we need to be.
Everybody who's going to play on Thursday, will they have to practice on Sunday? Is that your cutoff?
I think they'll have to do something on Sunday. I don't know if everybody who'll play on Thursday will necessarily hit on Sunday. But I think everybody who is going to play on Thursday, I'd be surprised if they weren't on the field on Sunday doing something.
Okay.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.